Welcome to Built for This, the podcast where purpose meets performance. Hosted by business strategist and human behavior specialist Carly Pepin, this show dives into the real stories behind high-growth businesses. Let's bring life to your vision.
All right, guys. So welcome to the podcast today. Today's going to be a really fun day. So today I have Erik Braund, and he's the founder and CEO of Katmai. So Katmai is a virtual office platform built for one singular mission: to delete your fucking meetings. Before launching a war on back-to-back calendar chaos, Erik spent years running a music and video production company and playing in Alaska's most grungy of underground grunge bands, Delmag, which apparently he still does from time to time. A band whose name is permanently tattooed on no less than 3 fans' bodies. Erik and the team built Katmai to bring back the spontaneity, speed, and actual humanity of working together. Got a calendar full of nonsense? He'll shred it while you pretend not to enjoy it. Before Katmai, Erik produced or directed projects with and for notable companies like New York Times, Amazon, NPR, Morgan Stanley, Food Network, The New Yorker, VH1, Pitchfork, Atlantic Records, Sony, Vice, etc., featuring the likes of Sting, Courtney Love, James Earl Jones, Jennifer Hudson, Nick Jonas, Greta Gerwig, and Tony Robbins, among others. Welcome, Erik. It's so good to have you today.
Hey, thanks for having me. That's a heck of an intro. I couldn't have written it better myself.
Yeah, you did write it.
I think I did.
I think you did. It's edgy enough for me to know Erik for sure had a lot to say in it.
I'm like, man, did I do all that stuff? It seems like a lifetime ago. But yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah, you did all of it. Yeah. It's kind of fun to hear your bio every now and then because you're like, oh yeah, like I do all that. You get really stuck in the day to day and you hear it and you're like, I've been busy.
Totally.
Oh, well,
Thanks for having
welcome.
me. I'm stoked to be here.
Yeah, no, I'm stoked to have you here. And I'd love for you to just give a brief description of Katmai because I got to have like a bit of a walkthrough through it. And I think it was a really cool understanding of how you're taking this work from home dynamic to the next level and some of the problems that you've been overcoming for individuals who work from home, which more and more people understand after COVID. Before it was just like a small group of people who understand what remote working is like. And now so many people understand the challenges that come with it.
So Katmai is one of those things it's tough to describe. And every time I say that to someone and then show it to them, they're like, oh yeah, you were right. This is different than I was picturing it, but kind of similar. But think about the spectrum we have for communicating with people. Like on one end of the spectrum, we can be in person. So like you and I could be, in a podcast studio together, but that would require one of us to fly somewhere. And then on the other end of the spectrum is actually kind of what we're doing now, which is like meeting by appointment on a grid of faces where like, honestly, I'm kind of like accidentally looking at the video of myself more than you sometimes. And that's not even intentional. It's like what the brain does. And it's like this meeting by appointment on a grid of faces. It's a call. It's effective for what it does. But what has happened is the workplace and the way of work and the daily work is like, you're kind of expected to do both now. So you're back in the office, but you're also on endless Zoom or Teams meetings. You're just like, it's kind of the best and worst of both worlds. So, and then the people that go back to the office 3 days a week, they're not even running into the people they're hoping to half the time because they're on the opposite schedule or they just decided to be at home this day and do a different 3 days or something. So like now there's like overload. There's just like communication and stimulus overload basically. And we're commuting and doing all the things. So Katmai represents the space in between. Our goal is to give you that in-office experience that, hey, do you have a minute? The pop-in, the spontaneity that exists in the office or the brief conversation that eliminates the much longer scheduled meeting. And how do we do that? Well, we built technology for 4 years and released a product earlier this year. It's called the Katmai Platform. We have a virtual office on it and it works so damn well. Like we just got a bunch of statistics back and it's just kind of like mind boggling when we look at how our customers are using it. And to describe it, it's a 3D environment that you load in from a browser on your computer. So you're opening Chrome, joining this 3D environment, and it's you on video. It's not an avatar of you. It's not, you're not like, it's not some like impersonal, hyped up version of you. It's not an avatar. It's not a cartoon. It's just you. And what we've enabled you to do in this technology is move freely through an environment. these environments look like offices. So what happens, like my Monday morning at work, I load up Katmai, I go to my virtual office, and I literally like poke around to see who's there. And then maybe I'll go have a conversation, or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just park myself in a room and uh, wait and see what happens and do my other work. But now I'm available. I'm there. I'm present. But I'm anywhere in the world. And so it's like this really, once you take the leap to saying, oh, this is a different way of working, it becomes sticky
Mhm.
very fast.
Well, I think what was really cool is, I get to see the walkthrough of it, And I know people can go on your website and take a look so they kind of understand what we're talking about. But when I got to see the walkthrough of it, it looks like an office. And when I'm moving around with you, we were moving to other people's offices, and their camera's actually on when they're working, and you could see their face. And it was funny because as you're taking me through, you're like, oh, like, well, I don't remember their names, but you're like, Mike's not here. It's like, but it's this time, so he's probably taking his dog for a walk, So it's like,
Right.
um, yeah, and we have office doors that are closed because people are busy, or open because you're welcome to walk in. And so I thought it was really cool and quite fascinating. And I think anyone who has experienced working from home, it is incredibly challenging. I am an entrepreneur. I've been a solo entrepreneur. And so I remember the first time when I started working from home, I really struggled. I couldn't do it where I lived in LA, so I would go to cafes and stuff all the time. But then when COVID hit, all of a sudden I'm stuck in my lovely little studio
Mhm.
all by myself. And I told my parents, I was like, I'm going nuts. I said I wanted to move anyways. I actually moved in with them for 6 months before I decided on my next step, just so I didn't have to have like that alone all day. And then since then, I've noticed I'm not okay when I'm not living with someone and they're not actually home, because it is that surprise meeting when I'm going to the kitchen. And I'm getting it from family members now, got married since then and have a husband. But that one break where I didn't have it, I got a dog. So I think people don't like realize it's freaking hard to be home all day and isolated.
I mean, a
I'm
dog is
just like,
arguably better than a husband. Not yours in general, but I mean, a dog's a great choice.
mine's pretty awesome, but we also love our dog. Don't get me wrong.
No, but
Yeah.
that's it. Like we crave connection.
Oh,
We
so
do.
much.
And so what's interesting about this, when I was kind of saying like, Zoom and Teams and those things, they're like meeting by appointment. So it's like a link on your calendar at some point. Sometimes they're impromptu, but it still needs to be set up. You still have to like
Yeah.
agree to go meet on a link somewhere. With this, you're just agreeing on, hey, maybe like Monday through Friday, we're in the office for 3 hours a day. And that in the office just means you're logged in, it's up on a screen, and you're available. And then what happens is your team, whether it's 5 people or 25 people or 100 people, whatever it is, they're there too. And before you know it, you've forgotten that you're not like supposed to schedule meetings, and you'll like start to Slack someone. You're like, wait a minute, they're right there. I just go talk to them. Oh, that still
Yeah.
happens to us after years. Like it's like an ongoing joke. But so our average customer spends 24 hours a week in Katmai. What's crazy about that is the average time they spend in meetings is 2.3 hours. So it's like you're in an environment, you're doing work, but you're only in 2.5 hours of meetings. The
Yeah.
average office worker, whether it's remote or in office, so I'm looking at my stats here, spends 17 hours a week on meetings in Zoom and 12 hours a week in meetings on Teams.
It's a
So it's
lot.
like by agreeing to be available, you're now shrinking your time like having meetings by like an extraordinary amount. And you're having impromptu conversation. So
Yeah.
70% of the meetings in Katmai are less than 15 minutes, and like 80 or 90% are spontaneous. And
Yeah.
by spontaneous, it just means, well, yes, we've agreed to be at the office. I can just come talk to you.
I think
Now we're
what's
having a meeting.
Yeah, I think what's really cool about this too is one thing that we haven't mentioned is you have common areas in your virtual office. And so we went up and we were talking to someone in the common area, because if they're in the common area, that's like indicative of, hey, we could just like, I'm open to just say hi and like reconnect, like you would say hi at the coffee machine or something, or if you're going to get like a glass of water or something like that. So I thought that was really cool. And the other thing with the meetings, because this, whenever I'm working with companies, we are I love meetings. They're massively important. But when you spend that much time on meetings on a regular basis, as you're saying, the average, it's too much because people get burnt out. They're frustrated. They're over talking about things in these meetings to such a degree that it actually takes them away from implementing work. And so they get really frustrated because they feel like they're running out of time and they're just wasting time in these meetings. And so when we can like make these meetings more effective and efficient, what it winds up doing is all of a sudden people like meetings. Like we're going to get things done, we're going to have things to do after, and it's actually going to be helpful instead of just draining our time and energy. So I love that this has naturally been something to cut it down and get it more strategic.
I'm sorry, I would like literally just pulled these together. 90% of them in Katmai are spontaneous.
Yeah.
90% of the interactions. And that is like also like spontaneity breeds some sort of creativity. And like if you don't have a week to A, overthink something for your meeting, or B, forget everything. It's like those are kind of the two things that happen when it's like, okay, let's put together the other 6 people for this meeting. We can only find it at 4:45 on a Tuesday night. And like, everyone's checked out and distracted by that anyway. But if it's just like, hey, Carly, I've been thinking about this thing. You're the person that has the answer that I can bounce this off of. What do you think?
Yeah.
And then you're just like, oh. And then what happens there? I don't have statistics on this yet. I have no idea how to prove it. I should probably go back to school to figure this out. But it's like the psychology here is now there's culture being built. It enables culture. They're like, hey, I can bump into someone I don't know well and talk about the weather or whatever. But when you can like start interacting and change your whole like method of interacting with people, all of a sudden you have like a foundational like trust and respect, and like something different happens that doesn't happen when 6 or 7 people log onto a meeting, have 30 seconds at the beginning while someone's screwing with their audio video, and then like everyone says okay bye and then ends the meeting. There's no culture that can be built that way. It's like it's impossible.
Yeah, and no, like I do have psychology on this background as well. That's
Okay.
where I go. That's where I'll come in. But yeah, like with individuals, we'll hear people when they're working in a company, they'll say things like, I need to get this done, because this is my job, this is my task, it's something I have to do, right? But when people have a really quality culture because they're engaged in what the company's doing, but they're also engaged with each other, they'll say things like we, us. And it's like, oh, I'm doing this today because we need to get this done. Like, this is for us. And if people in the company aren't saying we and us, that's a disjointed company. It's a disjointed culture. But again, that just doesn't come like, I love to focus on the vision. I love to focus on the strategy, but it's also how like people are actually connecting with each other. And if they have like no connection, then you're going to have a culture of I, me, my, which is all about the employee as opposed to the ultimate vision and where you guys are going and feeling like they're working as a team, and I think for some people, Chelsea, I met this film editor one time. He's like, I hate working with people. He's like, I love my job. I just get
People
to
are the
sit
worst. Come on.
yeah, he's like, I hate it. He's like, I get to sit in front of a screen for 16 hours and nobody bothers me and I just edit. And I was like, you do you, bro. That's awesome. But most people aren't like that. He loved COVID, by the way. But yeah, most people are not like that. Most people actually thrive on just being able to have interaction. So I think, yeah, that's where it's like just having that dynamic of being able for people to connect. Because also most people, I am very lucky. My husband also is self-employed. So he works from home. He's basically, when I leave this room and tell someone to have a podcast with, he's outside if he's not on a call, right? So that's our office interaction.
Right.
But otherwise, it's really hard. Most people don't have that.
My favorite anecdote on this whole topic is after Zoom's market cap became worth more than like the top 7 airlines combined,
It's insane.
they, which is just totally insane.
Oh, like I love it though.
It has finally like balanced out. And don't get me wrong, like
Uh,
things like Zoom like saved the global economy. Thank God for Zoom and Teams, right?
yeah.
It paved the way for what I'm doing at Katmai. The CEO of Zoom on an internal all hands that got leaked came out and said, everybody has to come back to the office. You can't have culture on Zoom and you can't run a company on Zoom fully remote. And I was like, couldn't have said it better myself. Like, so, and we're like part of the thing. So what's interesting about the Katmai platform is for a small company, it's like immediately obvious how you could adopt it and the problems it will solve. It's like an instant, like, aha, I get it. I know I could implement this and we'll go. For the large company, it's like, oh, this would be a big lift to put 10,000 or 100,000 people in a virtual office, that would really require some implementation and some rollout and some planning. However, what if we could do X or Y or Z on this platform to start?
Mhm.
And usually those are all built around identifying that culture is the common thread. And
Yeah.
it's like, maybe it's interviewing, maybe it's the first day's onboarding, maybe it's like having an all hands or like a virtual offsite or like hosting office hours. Those are kind of like, those are the entry points. But we just onboarded a deal team at a large real estate company.
Mhm.
And what was awesome, it was just Friday. This is like a magical Friday. And it's like hard to get a big company to buy in quickly and give the blessing to do this thing. But when you do it, we brought in like 25 or 30 people and gave them the tour, and they had their kickoff basically of like, hey, here's how we're going to use Katmai. We're going to be in it these hours a day. If you need to find me, I'm here. I'm in Katmai. Don't call me, don't email me, don't text me, don't Slack me, don't Zoom me, don't MS, whatever, all the things, right? Just come to Katmai. And then what was like, what we hope would happened is people were like, huh, this is pretty cool. Maybe we should do our other things in here also. Oh, and then we have a feature where it's really easy to invite people in because product led growth is like very important to our type of ecosystem. And much like a physical office, you want to have guests into your place. And this is a cool, shiny new thing that's like branded and like different. So people get excited about like, come see my new thing. In that onboarding session, they brought in other people from the organization to come see like, hey, look at this thing we just got. And then they were like, can we have it for our group? And I'm just like, yes.
You're like, yes, yes, you can.
No, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I mean, I'm not the decision maker, but yes, we can give it to you.
I could do it.
But it's like, how cool is it that like when you deliver someone this like experience that's branded to their company that's new and different and exciting, that they can like rally around it. And it's moments like that. Like I actually couldn't be in that meeting, but I got all the feedback, and it's moments like that where I'm like, this is why we're doing this. Like it legitimately like brought a group of 20 plus remote people together again, and they all got excited about what that could do. You know,
Yeah.
I've lived in Katmai for 5 years. Straight up. I've been in it every day for 5 years. But it still surprises and delights. I still have spontaneous moments. I'll run into people in my office. Like we have an investor who was a Super Bowl champion,
Yeah.
and he hangs out with pretty interesting folks. And it's like, oh, Sydney's here. He's like in our office roaming around. You can tell he's on a phone and he's on a golf cart with some other like, person that's like, check out this thing it's just like, man, that doesn't happen on a Zoom call. And then what'll happen if I, like you said, if I get up and walk away from my desk for a minute, there's kind of an ongoing joke now where he'll text me a picture of my empty chair. And I'm like, bro, you ever been in the fucking office? Or you just like log in and leave your chair there? Like, dude, you logged in the like 2 seconds of the day I stepped away. But like that, like another experience was I was in a meeting with a guy that was doing some work with us, and we mentioned like, oh, so and so is here with so and so, and he's like, well, I'm gonna get the names right. He's like, you mean John Smith from XYZ company? I went to business school with him. He's here. I was like, yeah, he's over in the conference room with one of our other colleagues. And then he just like left the meeting and chatted. But it was like, that doesn't happen on Zoom.
Yeah. No.
Nothing accidental can happen. And like accidental can be good,
Yeah. No, I love that. Well, it's that dynamic where it's like recreating a real life experience.
Yes.
Yeah, for individuals that don't work together. So I really love that. And let me ask you a question too, because when you first came up with this idea, like what were the signs early on that made you believe this wasn't just a cool idea, but something that could be a real company?
So I have a very strange story, and I'll pause and I'll say like, I didn't first come up with the concept, and I was just like very open about it. So I was running an audio video production company, and then COVID happened and I was just like out of business instantly. So I started consulting for some large companies, and usually that was like, hey, you guys should use Zoom. Have you ever heard of it? And like, no, we've never heard of that. What's Zoom? I'm like, that existed in March of 2020. That was a real conversation that I had. Like,
Awesome.
and then I was like floating around the internet constantly looking for like different solutions because I was getting called a lot to provide solutions. So I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing now. I'm like helping people solve problems because we can't be together. And I got sent this Dutch Twitter account that had like 40 followers, and it had the earliest proof of concept version of video in a 3D environment that you could move around in. And I clicked on it and I was there by myself. I was like, I don't get it. And then I added myself from another computer and I was like, oh, I get it. We're like in a space on video. And then my brain just exploded because I'm a hustler and an entrepreneur and a geek and all the things. So I messaged the guy. He's like, hey, this is pretty cool. What is it? I'll spare you the long story, but I bought it from him. I convinced him to leave his job. And when I say I bought it, I bought a zip file for a lot of money that I opened it up once and I was like, I can't do shit with that. I don't know what to do with this. I better find some software engineers. And like, I literally opened it once. There was hundreds of little files in there and some readme text things. And I'm like, well, sure hope I can convince this guy to leave his job now. The only one in the world that knows what the hell this is. And I will say I'm a little bit of a maniac and I was able to do that. And he worked with us for 5 years. And like, he's recently moved on to another project, all in like, it's all very positive. It's just kind of like time to do another thing for him.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing was, it was like, I didn't know what on earth I had other than like lightning in a bottle, but like lightning in a bottle, it's hard to like turn that into a business and a product and at a crazy time in life too. And so we basically like started to build this software out of my bank account, which was like starting to go down and down and down. And I had to put together like, okay, I think if we can make this work well, because mind you, that first experience that I clicked up from Twitter sent my $5,000 computer into like flying into Earth. The fan was spinning so much. And then, it's just like, this is a proof of concept to build this to where we know it will work on billions of computers that people already own and devices. That's going to take some time. Turns out it took 3 times longer than I wanted it to. Years. Sorry, investors on board, but it works really well now. We've proven that. And now it's like we have patented the hell out of it. And like we spent years like inventing side by sides. What I mean is like Alaska, Netherlands, Florida, Brooklyn, upstate New York, all in this little office thing together. And the office was accidental. It was like, well, this is a way that we can work together. So why don't we just do this? And then before we know it, I was like, oh, this is pretty interesting. I think this is a product. Now, what we had to do was make it easy to use and intuitive. That was hard. And thank God the feedback we get now is, oh, this is pretty easy to use. Oh, it's pretty intuitive. And every time I get that, I'm just like, oh. So that's the best thing anyone's ever said. Like, it was just like hard to do because you're taking a simple, but equally at the same time, like insanely complex, very large idea and trying to like make it easy to use for someone that may have never played a video game. And like, we're basically putting you in a video game. That's the easiest way to say it. Yeah. But the purpose is not to shoot things and blow things up. It's to talk to each other in a more like human dynamic way.
Hey everyone, it's Carly. If you're really resonating with what we're talking about and want to get clear on what truly drives you, what your core values are, head on over to my website. In the tools and tips section, there is a free values assessment. And this is a quick exercise that's going to help you to uncover what actually matters most with you so you can lead and live with more clarity, fulfillment, and momentum.
And like, I was actually just presented to like a very high up person at a very high up consulting group, like international consulting group. And after like 75 minutes, they loved it. They asked really sharp questions. Like it was like a great thing. The feedback was like, man, this is a big idea. And that wasn't a negative thing. It was just like, damn, like you're just like taking real estate out of the equation. And that's crazy. And it's not so different than what Meta wanted to do in when they rebranded to Meta and said 20 billion a year is going into the headset virtual metaverse thing.
I remember that. We didn't have a lot come out of that. And unless I'm just not privy to what's going on there, I don't follow it too much.
No, you're entirely privy. Now, this isn't the Meta one, this is the other one, but that all says that their solution says millions or billions of people are supposed to do this.
Yeah, I can't do that. I remember those hours. No.
I mean, give me a fucking break. Like, cool technology, but not a way that people are gonna spend their life. I hope not. That's
No.
a dystopian nightmare that I don't want to live in.
Yeah, I hope not too. I really genuinely hope that's not the case.
I mean, I'm like, these guys, at the last time I checked, the statistic was
Mhm.
they peaked at 1,000 users a day in that technology, spending $20 billion a year.
I mean, honestly, it's kind of great to hear. I mean, and sorry for Facebook and all that stuff, but I know it costs a lot of money, but it is great to hear that people are really prioritizing more meaningful connections.
Yes.
Yeah, that is great to hear.
You're
Mhm.
like, so I logged in on that. This is the Apple Vision. And this thing does, it will offer to do a 3D scan of your face. And it's creepy as hell, but I did it because I was like, I got to try it. And so I actually loaded up our Katmai office in this because we're browser based. It actually
Uh-huh.
worked. But I loaded up as the creepy 3D scan version of me and just went into the office
No.
and I just basically grossed everyone out. It was just like, what's wrong? I don't like it. I'm uncomfortable.
They're like, what are you doing today?
And really, I think for me, the worst part was like I couldn't get these color of glasses. There was only like clear glasses. And I actually tried those once and my wife swatted them off my face and said, no, like it just doesn't work because my eyebrows are very light. So, but like I was the weirdest virtual version of myself. And that was like, oh, this is everything. Because I shit, I still get asked the question by an investor or customers or the people that are like, hey, have you ever considered putting avatars in here?
I don't think
And
that's
I'm
a good
like,
idea.
yeah, no,
I feel
I
that would
never
go
will.
against your whole vision of like the connection and the culture.
I'm just kind of like, all right, you can leave. Or should I leave? I'll show myself out. When I get
Yeah,
back,
this isn't gonna work.
you did not get it. The other one that I get, I'll do like an hour-long meeting and I will demo the hell out of it like I did for you in like 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And the whole thing will happen. And then the last question I'll get is like, so are those real people? Like, are those real people?
They're definitely
like,
real people.
Wait a minute. Wait, what? And so I've actually like shifted my entire presentation to be like, I'll be like, hey, James, are you a real person? And he's like, yeah, I'm a real person. It's like, we have to really like, because what's super obvious to me after 5 years is not always obvious to the first time someone's seeing it, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's really cool. And let me ask you a question too, because I remember when we were talking initially beforehand, if I remember correctly, you got your first customer before you had the finished product, right? So
way before.
what did that help you learn about teaching from need versus vision?
When your first customer is an enterprise company with like very different needs from a security perspective and a technology and a firewall and a VPN perspective, like all of those things, that's a like, oh, well, we hadn't really thought of any of that stuff yet. We're just kind of, like, but did you see how cool it looks? Like, look at the nice colors. Aren't the graphics nice? And like, look at this little sound zone thing we can do. And, it became problematic when it's like, also the way that we know it's working well. Like one of our indicators of like, is it sticky is not just, are people logging in and having interactions? It's like, are they inviting in guests? Like, is someone
Right.
external coming in? Because that shows a level of comfort with the platform and a level of interest. And I'm ready to like put my reputation and have it be represented by this platform. Right.
Yeah.
And when that wasn't working well, because all the people they were inviting in were also large enterprises with their own VPNs and all this shit, it's like, oh, okay, we got some other stuff to solve, some other problems to solve here. So, but thankfully, what happens with tech like this is your early adopters, if it's adding value, they're willing to put up with hiccups as long as you're improving it on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And they get to be part of the like narrative of the product roadmap too. It's like, well, what do you need? We have a sense of what we're building, but like, let's get your feedback. And it's like now for the last year and a half, like literally every little improvement we've made is based on like user feedback and user patterns and these things, not just, hey, wouldn't this be cool if we could build this?
Actually, like in saying that, I was thinking that's a really lucky company to have gotten to start like the first one, because then they're the ones giving the main feedback. So
Yeah.
their feedback for improvement is constantly prioritized. It's almost like they got a bit of a customized product in the beginning.
Pretty much entirely.
Pretty much, right? And I was like, base scorn.
Yeah. And we're able, the environments that we build, these 3D environments, we have like an incredible team. We have this guy, Pete Polyakov, who comes from this like insane Hollywood background. Like the guy has done graphics on The Matrix and Star Wars. And like he, I remember one of our conversations was like, can you just come like build The Matrix with me instead of like working on The Matrix, And like he's still like a huge part of the company. And um, we have the capability to build any type of environment. And we have the capability to basically make the pixels on your screen do whatever we want because we built this engine. That becomes a blessing and a curse because we technically, like, well, yeah, we have resources, engineers, 3D people, like we can build it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean we should. So like even for this company, we built a full scale digital twin of their headquarters. It's like insane. I mean, it's like it's epic. It's insane.
It is
But,
it is amazing.
but like it also like isn't totally necessary.
Yeah.
We've learned at this point. And I get a question I get constantly, like, can you make it look just like my office?
Yeah.
Like, yes, but what we've learned is that we should not do that.
Mhm.
Even if money is no object, we shouldn't do that because your office has lots of like line of sight issues that are built because there's got to be a stable structure and an elevator shaft and HVAC and water and all these things. And like what we're trying to do is just build connection.
Yeah.
And like we don't need to walk down a huge long hallway with no windows where you can't see anyone. All you're doing now is just like wasting time in an environment.
Yeah.
So our whole thing is like a bunch of environments that would never, you know, withstand a windstorm or gravity because there's a lot of glass. Because it's like we want to have your own little rooms, but also like see people.
Yeah.
And it goes into this like even if you're not meeting with people and you're just working, you are connected to people. You see people moving around and it's like a dopamine hit. It's like it's a version of like an Instagram like or whatever. It's just like, oh, someone's there. They're chatting. I'm not alone. And there's like that's the funny thing is like the pessimistic question I'll get is, oh, so you got to keep your cameras on? It's like, well, no, you don't have to. And like you can turn it off. You're still represented in the environment and your camera can be turned off. But like seeing someone and being seen is like an important part of the collective human condition, especially when collaborating and being part of a team. So it's not like Big Brother, where are my people? Are they there at their desk? It's like, oh, see, I'm here and you're here. We don't have to like talk all day long.
Yeah.
But like I'm connected. And that's again one of those like psychological things where I don't know how to measure its effects, but we get the feedback a lot that's like, oh, I just feel more natural on this platform.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. No, I love that. And it is very true. It is a different dynamic where we do want to not just see people, but be seen. So yeah, it is interesting because the first time I saw that, I was like, oh, would I keep my camera on? And I was like, actually, I would because I would want people to know I'm there, you know, and then someone could walk in and they could say hi and they could connect. And yeah, there's that dynamic too, where it's like that's also the invitation where, hey, I'm still sitting here. I want to hang out. I want to connect with you. So I really like that dynamic as well. And
The like if you go to the office, your face is there. Like
all the time.
Like that's where I'm
The
like
door's usually open too, unless you're on a specific call or a meeting. Like the door's open. A lot of us like there's individuals in cubicles, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's usually very transparent. Very, especially the bigger offices too. Like there's a lot of cubicles for sure. Yeah.
Like you have absolutely no privacy whatsoever in a big office.
The first time I worked at a cubicle, I remember you just pop your head up and be like, "Hey, I have a question."
Yeah.
Hey. You know? So yeah, you have no privacy. So
That's it's almost the point of like we can't like a fully cameras off culture, that's its own thing. And like we can't solve that. And I guarantee you there's always some leader of some unit that's like, I can't get my people to turn their camera on. I don't know. Are they at the golf course? Is anyone paying attention?
Yeah.
And there's kind of like almost a point of no return with some companies and that thing.
Yeah.
Even my father, who's like his company, if there was ever an ICP that should be using Katmai, it's my dad's company.
Yeah.
Like he probably has like 10 or 12 people and they used to all be in the office. He still pays for the same office he's had for like 50 years in Anchorage, Alaska. And he, you know, he's like, I don't know, everyone, there's like little yellow dots or red dots. I don't know if anyone's there, but the reason he's never like done anything like this, he's like, I have to say all the work gets done. Everybody does the great job and like the business keeps moving. So like, but like it's all these people that like left the office because in Alaska things are farther away. And it's like, it's so perfect for his business. Everybody's got double monitors and, you know, everyone's got the whole setup, but
yeah,
that's a culture choice that's been made.
it is a culture choice. Yeah.
So what do you do?
I think it also depends on what you're trying to build or achieve, you know?
Yeah.
There's a company out there. It's a cool company, C3.ai. They're a really cool company. They do interesting things. But I remember them talking about their cultural dynamic, and they said they get like 10,000 applications a year because the culture there
Oh,
is
well.
so well known for being so amazing and such an amazing place to work at. They're very specific how they hire. They don't just hire for, your education and background, but they're very specific on making sure that that culture is like the best of the best. And basically now they know they can get the best of the best in the industry
Yeah.
because the culture is so strong. So if you're a small company and you want to stay small, it's like, okay, you're probably not concerned about culture to the same degree as someone who really is inspired to scale
Yeah.
and really inspired to grow. And you're like, oh, I want the best. And it's like, how do we attract them? You start to get known as the company to work for,
Yeah.
which a huge part is culture. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We're building a module right now called Interview Loop. And
Yeah.
it's basically for a large it's not like, hey, we're going to log in and use a virtual office all day, but it's like, oh, this would be a really interesting way to do interviews because we can do that, like cycle through, go back and ask someone. Everyone's kind of there, but they're doing the one-on-ones. We're adding some analytics into it, which is kind of cool. It's like, say you, Carly, are interviewing me and someone else interviewed me. And in the committee, you're like, I didn't like Erik. I don't know, not the right fit.
Yeah.
And then one of the statistics could be, and I'm not saying this would happen, but it'd be like, well, Carly, do you realize you spoke 85% of the time and Erik only spent 15% of the time? And that's like not a like that's a statistic. And it's kind of interesting. Like, oh, how was the flow of conversation? Was Erik late? Was Erik early? Just kind of like all these little things can give like more back end information and also let the candidate leave a like 4 stars, 5 stars, 1 star. Like it's just like options for more interaction. And then the environment is branded. So it's not on Zoom or Teams, but it's like interactive and branded. So far, we have an early statistic, but I think it's like over 90% acceptance rate at Katmai for jobs I think it was like 93 or 94%
Mhm.
of like if we've offered a job and they've said yes. And a huge part of it was like, the obvious, like, oh, it's interesting technology, like to be a part of a startup building this thing, but also like the culture and the way of work. I'm never going to be called into an office. I get to live where I need to live. I get to have my family life. I will agree to like spend, a decent amount of the workday in the virtual office, but like that's the trade-off. I don't have to go anywhere. And that's attractive, I think, to a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's an amazing trade-off. And again, I think it's also COVID was an interesting time for us because a lot of people also got to reflect on what they want in their lives. And I think they realized a lot of individuals they weren't enjoying the environments they were working in. So we saw a lot of people not go back.
Yeah.
So even nowadays with employees, they're so much more concerned about am I not just getting a job, but am I getting a job that I'm going to be fulfilled by? Has been a huge top priority for people. It's a difference in employee mindset that I see now than we had before because a lot of people didn't go back to their jobs. They realized after they got laid off or like things closed that they just didn't enjoy it. And so they're like, I don't actually want that job again. I'm going to find something else. So yeah, employee satisfaction is also huge. And even when I work with leaders and stuff get jobs like constantly, just so you know, they're interviewing you as well. Like,
Sure.
part of my training to help them get the best job ever is also interviewing the company. And so when they walk in for an interview, they're also really meticulous about having conversations and walking out of there and being like, I don't want that job, Carly. I did my job in the interview and like this company is not for me. So I think even saying that, people are getting smarter. People are getting smarter. So it's like, how do you run your company? What does that look like on the back end? What's the culture like? Is this something that they're going to enjoy long term? Because if they're not, they're going to go to the place that will. People are working a lot harder on it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is amazing. I'm so grateful they are.
Mhm. Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
Yeah. And let me ask you too, because as a leader, right? So we have leadership and your leadership team and leadership opportunity in this company. What would you say is different or you've adjusted or has it having Katmai like made it not so different to be a leader in this environment?
That's an interesting question. I'll start it off with this is my first office job I've ever had.
That's awesome.
My first time I've had full-time employees or built a large team because like I was in like production, which was like day players. Hey, we got to hire 20 people to do this thing for 3 days.
Yeah.
I had one full-time employee, and I actually remember calling him, being like, Johnny, I've got some good news, bad news. Bad news is you're fired from my old business. Good news is you're now hired at Katmai. And it pays better. And it was a little bit of, what's Katmai? Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. So, it's funny. Like, I had to figure out a lot of like, what is my leadership style?
Yeah.
Because, and then I've honestly gone through quite a bit of a transformation of like, as we raised money and we had more people and like it became like less of a pirate ship startup and more of a like, okay, we need to have a lot more standards here. And like I kind of got too uptight, I think, and tried too hard to be too businessy and like too objectives and key results and got into weekly meetings and just all this shit. And then someone told me we had to do one-on-ones and I started doing these one-on-ones and I was like, God, I fucking hate all these one-on-ones. People are just like everybody's just like filling the time. And then someone suggested some tool called 15.5 where everyone could track all the things. And I was just like, oh my God, I hate this so much. What have I done?
Yeah.
Like we have made this way too bureaucratic and like overdone it. And then I basically like ripped the Band-Aid off a year ago. I was like, listen, I'm canceling all one-on-ones. I'm never like, I have an open door policy. I'm here all the time. Anyone can talk to me anytime they want about anything.
Yeah.
Like, and then I went so far as like, and by the way, we're canceling our Wednesday standing meeting. Like we generally, and so I have no standing meetings anymore. I have zero.
Hey everyone, it's Carly. So if this conversation is really hitting home and you want to get a real snapshot of what's working and what's not in your business, head on over to my website in the tools and tips section and you can have the business performance health check. In just about 15 minutes, you're going to see where the friction is and where your next growth opportunity lies within your company.
I have hundreds of conversations every week internally.
Yeah.
They're all 2 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes, or they're all as long as they need to be. I guess that's an interesting way to say it. Like,
Yeah.
they're not any longer and they're not any shorter. They're all exactly as long as they need to be. And what that kind of did is like, it's like doing that, I think empowered people a bit more to say like, I run this and I run this and I do this. I understand we still are like connected on like, what are our goals and our next steps, but like, we don't have to, I don't even do the quarterly OKRs anymore. Like we brought someone in from a consultancy and he helped me think about things different and like organize things differently, but we just fucking overdid it. It was like,
Yeah.
this is too much. This is too much process and not enough like output. This is too much time spent on these processes to be like, I almost felt like I was playing like, dress up to be big boy business Eric or something. And then like part of my like personality went away a little bit too. And like the thing that makes me and the guy to do this. And it wasn't until I made the choice of like, okay, because like I hate LinkedIn. I hate this. I hate like, I can't stand like CEO influencers. It's like maybe my least favorite type of thing in the world.
That's funny.
And no disrespect to anybody. I understand why people do it, but I'm just like, man, that is so not me.
I haven't even heard that phrase yet, by the way, which is funny. But I was like,
I coined that.
okay, I was like, but no, it's true. There are CEO influencers.
There's a ton of them, and it just I just hate it. And like,
I've
like
thought about that before. Yeah.
you'll never unsee it now that you've seen
Yeah,
it.
I won't unsee it. And yeah, there'll be that difference in my head where I was like, hey, you're the CEO influencer. And I was like, you got a message, you're on a mission. I was like, but you're definitely wanting to be the influencer. Not that any's right or wrong, but yeah.
No,
Not a very good influencer. I really just like information and education.
and like, I like to think that when I die, my tombstone will read, "Here lies Eric. He was a lovable asshole," and that's like what I am. Like,
I'm an inspired asshole. That's what I call myself.
I like that
So
one.
we're gonna be like in the same realm wherever we go.
Aerial plots next to each other.
Yeah.
So it's like, but I had to like be like, okay, I'm gonna go do a bunch of podcasts too, and like,
Yeah.
here we are, right? And like the thing is, I love talking to people. I love like that used to be my job, was directing and interviewing, and like I love interacting. I
Yeah.
hate planned interactions. Like I think I told you last time, I was like, don't tell me the questions you want to ask me. Let's just have a good conversation.
Totally.
Because like I'm armed now to do that no matter what the topic is. And like I had to like basically look myself in the mirror of like, what version of myself am I going to present to the world?
Yeah.
To like talk about this company now that the product is out, and it is my job is to go like tell the world about the product and like share the vision and the dream, because there is a vision and there is a dream and it's a big one. And I was like, I literally remember having the conversation with my board being like, by the way, I'm only going to just be 110% authentically me. And I need you to be aware of that because he'll probably put my foot in my mouth. I'll say the F word too many times. And like, I don't know where the conversations are going to go, but I'm not going to go like, I'm not here. You know what it is? I'm not going to button this button.
Yeah, you're not putting on the suit.
No,
You're not.
I'm going to wear my Nirvana t-shirt. I'm just going to go be me. Like, that's the only way that I'm comfortable. And that was like the biggest kind of like relief for me in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And like I still know how to be like, incredibly professional when I need to be.
Yeah.
And like, but like, so I think this is all like I don't know if I've answered like any of your
You
questions.
did. You did. You touched on a couple key points that I'm gonna like dive into more. Yeah, you did. No, it's really helpful. One of the things that you shared that I am consistently telling people, and yeah, especially when I'm working with a company, is all the tools that the Fortune 500 companies use are amazing. Don't get me wrong, they're phenomenal. But for the most part, we're not Fortune 500 companies. And so if we're having these unrealistic expectations, hey, there's only 500. So it's like, for the most part, we're all companies. Some of us would really love to get there. And so, yes, you may use everything one day, but today you might just use certain parts of it. Or even when I'm working with companies, it's like, we'll go through these tools and it's like, well, let's see how it works for you to incorporate it. Like, let's not get you bogged down. Let's not get you stuck. Let's not make everyone crazy. Like, you have a very specific culture. You guys already have a way of working. It's like, how does this work for you? What is the best part of this for your company, your team? And let's incorporate it in that unique way. And I think people forget sometimes that companies, and this is what I love, companies are like people. Every single company is unique. Every single company is different. There's not one way for any human. So why are we assuming there's always one way for a company?
Right.
And it's like, we use this stuff as the base, but it's like you're saying, like, we were doing everything exactly the way we were supposed to, and it was making me nuts. And so we took these tools and we incorporated it in our own unique way, and now you have your own system. And like, one day you might need more when you grow, for sure, but now at least you know what they are. Like, yeah, and you can pull from a
performance indicators. Got it.
yeah. I mean, we have our own KPIs and stuff, but we're not like, we're a small team. We're me and my husband, and we have outside contractors and stuff. So we're a small team. I'm not like crazy on KPIs all the time. Like I would be if I had like 10,000 people under me. I'd be very different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like knowing where you're at too.
Yeah, and totally. And like, you raise a bunch of money and then you start growing and then you can like being reflective. It's like I grew the company in the wrong ways at the wrong times sometimes. And sometimes I got it right. And we've had to rebalance a few times too. Be like, okay, we've tried lots of things. Here's we've honed in on this. This is where we're playing right now. And like, what are the people and the roles and how do we get there to do this?
Yeah.
And like, that's a hard thing to do. And like, I love everybody. I'm like, by default, everybody's great for me. Like, and I'm like,
you're like, shoot.
I'm like,
this is where
forgiving and
being
like
a people person is maybe not a good thing for you. Yeah.
So I've had to do hard things and like, but everybody's, I don't know, better for it. And like today we have like a great team geared towards accomplishing kind of one thing, which is for an interaction with people Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 or some section of that, making that better, basically.
Yeah.
Like we are here to like make it better and easier and more efficient and richer and deeper and just like all of those things, because the scheduled call doesn't, you're taking a lot of away, you're taking away a lot of possibility, I think is what I'm like trying to articulate, that I probably never have. I'll do a better job in 6 months, but there's no shared place, and there's no kind of like shared, like, I don't know, looseness, and there's nothing that can happen like outside of this little box.
Yeah.
That's actually, so one of our larger enterprise companies, that's the thing that they saw. It was like, we want inclusive experiences for our team. And what we're having here is exclusive, and not in a way that like, oh, that nightclub or restaurant's so cool, they're exclusive, hard to get into. This is an impossible to get into meeting because no one else knows about it and no one else was invited. And now you're gone from your team and I'm gone from my team. And by default, it's excluding everyone else.
Yeah.
And like, not that we needed anyone else in this conversation, but like in the terms of like meetings
If
for
we
the
were
sake
in
of
a
meetings.
company, yeah, if we're working together, it's just, yeah, it's a different dynamic.
Yeah.
It's definitely a different dynamic. And plus you kind of also know, I remember one company that I was working at, we didn't often have closed doors meeting and stuff, but when there was a closed door meeting and it would be the VP and the owner in there, you kind of knew what was going on and you knew what they were talking about because you know what's going on in the company. But then you're also prepared where it's like, oh, they must be talking about this. And I would sit there with my colleague and be like, we'll probably have to do something with this like after they're out of there.
Right.
So I would get ready. Like we would talk about that. But
We
you
actually
know,
we
it
have a
wasn't a bad thing. It was nice.
yeah. Wait, so we in Katmai you can close the door to any room or zone, and it does two things. It ensures it's a private conversation,
Yeah.
but it also says like, hey, do not disturb. Like it's the same thing as a meeting in a physical office where the door's closed.
Yeah.
You're not going to go open that door or even knock on the door. The door is closed unless you were invited.
Yeah.
But what's cool is out of the like out of the average, I said average person is 23, 24 hours a week. 95% of the meetings that happen in Katmai are open door. Only 5% of them are closed door. And it's
Yeah.
like I find that like so cool because it's like people um are like utilizing trust and respect like
Yeah.
in the way of using the platform. That's what that kind of signals to me.
Yeah, no, I love that. No, I also want to circle back and talk about one more thing you talked about, which is really important. When you were talking about leadership, because one thing that I love that you're doing, by the way, which is really hard for so many people, is that authenticity factor. You know, I went through that part in my brain as well, where I actually really like I love fashion so much. So much. And when I first started working more with businesses, I remember sitting and talking to my husband and I started crying. I was like, I don't want to wear a boring pantsuit. I was like, I hate this so much. Don't get me wrong, I'll wear a pantsuit, but like there was one that I loved and it was a little bit of a crop top and it was hot pink. And I was like, that's amazing. You know, and I was in tears and he's like, why do you think you have to? And it's this dynamic of leadership where we perceive we're supposed to show up a certain way
Yep.
instead of showing up as who we are. And the funny thing is Iris Afel, I don't know if you know her, she's so cool. She's like fashion icon, but she calls herself an accidental icon because she didn't want to be an icon. Like people just started acknowledging and recognizing her because she's just obsessed with fashion. She loves what she does. She's very avant-garde. She's very into it. She loves sharing it. And she wasn't even in the fashion industry. She semi was. She was a fabric manufacturing company, right? And she was just an owner of it who loved fashion. And she became this icon and she became famous. And huge companies were doing collaborations with her before she passed away. She passed away at like 102. But she was in her hundreds, she was doing a collaboration with MAC Cosmetics, right?
Oh man,
So
okay.
that's huge. And
Yep.
she didn't do it because she was putting on a facade. She did it like from authenticity. And I think people forget about that. And it's like that edgy part of you, that part of you that's like a little bit rough around the edges, which I get as well. I grew up listening to punk rock music. So I like
Yeah.
punk rock,
Sure, I like
classic
too.
rock, and country music. So I could put on a punk rock song still and just be like really into it. But then I'm also in dresses and stuff. So it's like this weird combo of like this girly girl in dresses, like swearing like a truck driver sometimes. But I really like you draw in very specific people and they resonate with you.
Yeah.
And they're the kind of people that you want to connect with, you want to work with. Where if someone needs me to be in a suit and stuffy, like I'm gonna freak out, man. Like I'm in trouble. So it's that lesson. Love yourself, be yourself. And funny enough, you wind up becoming the influencer you never wanted to be just because people are drawn to authenticity. You're like, what?
Dude, I unfortunately own many wrinkle-free blazers now, but because I just like, but it's like crumpled up and mostly wrinkle-free because now I use it basically because like I have a lot of meetings that are in the like 50th floor on Central Park South and some boardroom that you're like, well, if I walk in like this, they literally might not let me in the building. So I use it as like I call it my
Get through the door.
my buddy and I and my wife and I joke about it, but I call it my business costume.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I gotta grab my costume. And it's like, and after I leave a meeting, I really won't be that dressed up, but I'll be like maybe a button up that's like mostly button. And I was like, God, I gotta get out of this monkey suit, like
You're like, it feels so weird.
it's just funny. But so sometimes you have to like play the part a little bit, but
A teeny bit. If I'm playing the part for you, I really like you and I really want to work with you. If I'm playing that part, there's something about you that I'm like, this is cool. I'm gonna do it.
I'll email these to you afterwards. But my transformation was complete in that a few years ago when I had to go do my first like talk, I had to get a
Yeah.
headshot, and I was like, oh, okay, and I like got a suit and did a headshot, and it's just the most like cheesy business headshot. It's like, God, I hate this. It's like nothing. Like the photographers are pals of mine that did exactly what I asked them to do, and they delivered exactly what I went for. It was just like, oh, every time I send it around, I'm just like, that's not me. And so I then had a photographer friend up here was like, hey, can you come do a headshot of me? And the headshot looks like an American Apparel photo. It's all flash, and it's me and one of my Pomeranian. It's mostly Pomeranian instead of me.
Oh yeah, I know this one.
It's
I know
okay,
this one. It's a good one. Yeah.
That's Erik. Like, I don't know who that other fucking guy was, but this one's Erik. And I like send it around now when people ask for a headshot, and sometimes it gets like, they're like, do you have like another one?
Yeah. I like that one. I was like, I really liked it.
The other thing that I do, because I'm basically a child, is on almost every airplane that I get on, I go into the cockpit and ask if I can take a photo, and then I ask if I can sit in the pilot's seat and wear his hat.
Yeah.
So I have like dozens, if not more, of photos of like me in jumbo jets with a pilot's hat on. And
Awesome.
so at our last trade show, they asked for a photo. I should have sent one of those, and they used it.
Well, I think this is the funny thing. We forget, like, the guy who's helping me with my podcast, right? I have a ton of pictures, and there's a bunch. I don't really like them because I feel like I just look like stuffy and a little bit uptight in them. But the ones that he liked the most were when I have a friend who's a fashion photographer in LA, and he's a great photographer. And I was like, "Do you want to do some shots with me? I need some like something for my brand." And he made it very like fashion oriented. And the guy, he's like, "These are the best." He's like, "When I look at these pictures, this is like the person that I'm talking to." And I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Use these." And I was like, okay, because I hadn't even thought of using them before. But it expresses our personality to the greatest degree. Because people don't, it's funny if we're putting out that persona of this one thing, and then someone gets on the phone with me and they're like, "You're not what I expected." Like, that doesn't work out so well for someone. Yeah, or you have me on your podcast. And it's like, there's certain people where I'll look and I'm like, I am not a fit. I'm not a fit for this. I'm genuinely not a fit. Like, thank you so much for inviting me, but I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm really gonna upset you, like, a lot. So, like,
I've never had a job, and I don't think I don't think if I ever got hired and like conned my way into getting hired somewhere, I would be fired so fucking quickly. I would not know how to do it. I had one job at a guitar store from the ages of 14 to 16.
Yeah.
And then from then I was like, I don't think I like this. I'm not going to do this. Okay. No, I'm never going to do that.
Oh no, that's awesome. Oh, so yeah, definitely lead with authenticity, guys. Like, it is really important, and everyone's going to connect with you more. And especially, I know some people do want to be CEO influencers, and literally, like, the best way to do it is be yourself. Like, we are magnetized towards those people, and we want to listen to them, we want to talk to them. Joe Rogan's even a great example. I mean, he has a podcast about nothing, but everyone loves like what he does because he's just like who he is, which I absolutely love. And it's hard to do in the world because most people, you'll find, I get some very interesting comments sometimes after podcasts. Some are very supportive and some are very challenging. And you're like, well, there it is. Half the world's gonna love you, half the world's gonna hate you. But at least I'm being myself, and I know I must be doing a good job because I'm pissing some people off. So it's a great reminder.
I spent a day at a music festival this weekend, which was a nice little thing to do, and I was with some old bandmates, and they were like, I think you're basically just like our own personal Conan O'Brien. That's what you are to us.
We kind of look like Conan O'Brien, by the way.
I mean, listen,
like, you have it.
I think it's been a long time at this point, but I was on his show.
That's awesome.
If you have time for a very brief anecdote, in my like 20s, I kept getting stopped in New York City, being like, anyone ever told you look like, it was like this 3-month period of like, I must have really looked like him. The haircut must have really just been there. So much so that I finally went to the show, and I got tickets, and I dressed up in a suit, and I had a pompadour, and we went to check in, and the people were like, what's going on here? And so they sat me in the very front with my friends, like the very front row. And before they start taping, I didn't know this. Conan like warms up the audience. This is back when it was in Manhattan. And he bursts out of the door and he comes straight into my face and he goes, "What the fuck do you think you are?" And I was like, "Oh God, Conan's yelling at me." and, and then he spends basically 5 minutes just like ripping on me, telling me how hard my 40s and 20s and 30s are going to be, and I need to wear SPF 5000 and like, and I'm a drummer, and Max Weinberg had just gotten back from tour with the Bruce Springsteen band.
Mhm.
And he's like, "Come on down and meet Max." And Max, I give Max a hug and he gives me his drumsticks. I'm like, "Cool, I'm a drummer." He's like, "You're a drummer?" It was kind of like, "Oh yeah, you're a drummer, huh? You think you're a drummer? Get on up there." I was like,
You're like, "No, I really am a drummer."
Oh, I am. So fast forward 10 seconds. I'm sitting on his like circular Max Weinberg drum kit. The band kicks into Led Zeppelin's Whole Lot of Love. And I'm just like, then I look out a quarter of my eye. There's like this 9-foot tall man with 20-foot arms singing Whole Lot of Love in falsetto. It's like, oh my God, I'm playing Led Zeppelin and Conan is singing. What the fuck is going on here? This is all before the taping. And then in the monologue, he like brought me back down and I did the monologue and I made an absolute fool out of myself multiple times on national television.
Yeah. Oh,
It was
that's
it was
awesome.
fantastic.
That's really cool. I love that though too. Again, it's a really cool example of company culture, because if that was a really uptight culture, the people who spotted you in the beginning never would have facilitated that happening. But even on the background, yeah, you can imagine like they're like, "We're allowed to go talk to Conan. We're gonna tell Conan this right now," and just being
Yep.
able to create that opportunity.
And if you're listening, I want to go back on his podcast. I want to revisit. 15 years later, I want to go back.
Conan, reach out.
Conan, you listen to this, right?
It could get there. You never know. I really appreciate this. And I would love to close out with something, just a piece of advice. Like what piece of advice would you give individuals who are looking to start like their own companies and do startups and stuff? Something that maybe you didn't know back then that you know now. What would you love to give them advice on?
It's trust your gut, believe in yourself, don't second guess yourself, and be yourself. It's just all those. It's so simple, but anytime I have wavered from any one of those things, it's been the wrong thing. So I don't know. Like if you've got an idea and you want to build a thing, like yes, listen to lots of opinions, but like at the end of the day, like what people are investing in is this idea, but you and like you and the idea are one of the same. And so I don't know. I think like that's really like trust yourself, be yourself, trust your gut.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think that's perfect. The vision really does prevail. It really does prevail. And if we get off track with that vision, things go really quirky and kooky, because the universe is like, "You fucked up. You're not paying attention. We're going to help you get back on." So it's really great advice. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on today. Let's let the listeners know where they can find you.
Yes. The company is Katmai Tech. It's KATMAI tech.com. My name is Erik Braund, ErikBraund. You can catch me influencing once every 3 months on LinkedIn. Usually it's going to be something very sarcastic. Like, what did the mosh pit at the Turnstile show teach me about B2B sales and marketing? Absolutely fucking nothing. Like, it's just, I don't know. I can't do it. I don't, but like, I'd say this, anybody that wants to know more, they can just send me an email or shoot me a message and come visit our HQ and just like have a chat. Like that's the best way to show the product and learn more about any of it, is just like, hey, just come on in, come stop by our office.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this today.
This was my most fun podcast. No offense to any other podcast, but this was my most fun to date.
I'm going to take it.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. Thank you again.
All right, ciao.